Welcome back to another episode of Canadian Catch-Up. I'm Jevohn Shepherd, and this is where we take a look at some of our best performances from the NBA all the way across the globe.
Making his All-Star Game debut from the Golden State Warriors, Andrew Wiggins!
First up, we got Andrew Wiggins. He gave us 10 points in 15 minutes in his All-Star debut. Also gave us a nice baseline flush, which was probably the best dunk we've seen all weekend. But it was nice to really see him back in Cleveland, the team that drafted him, the team that traded him, and just out there having fun. It makes you start to think, how many more times can we see him in an All-Star uniform? And while we're on the topic of All-Stars, we have to mention Kenny Sherry, who just played in the VTB League All-Star game and then hopped a flight the next morning to meet Canada basketball and the rest of his teammates as they prepare for the World Qualifiers.
An 8-time All-Star and 2-time League MVP, Steve Nash.
Last but not least, we got to pay homage to some of the old heads, and Steve Nash just got listed onto the NBA's top 75 list. I think we all remember Nash in the Phoenix days, really passing the basketball, but we forget this is an 8-time All-Star, 2-time League MVP, and he paved the way for a lot of these young guys that we see having success at the NBA level as well as across the globe. Talking about the OG, the pioneer, Steve Nash, I had a chance to tap in with some of our Canadian men's national team members. Check it out. Here's my brother Kaza, Kajami-Keane. Kaza, thanks for your time, and you know, you've been somebody that Canada basketball's called on, and you've always answered that call. But before you got to this point, you've been following in some steps, right? And Steve Nash has just been named to the NBA's top 75 all-time list. Tell me a bit about his game.
He's a leader. He's a pioneer for Canada. A lot of us wouldn't be in the positions we're in if it wasn't for him sacrificing it and doing what he did for all of us, you know? And I remember like one of the stats that they used to stat was high fives in the NBA. And his was like, you know, on another level compared to everyone else, because he just knows how to lead and do the right thing every time. And as a kid growing up, we watched him basically show what it is to be Canadian in the NBA. And I'm just grateful for what he did. You know, he's the epitome of a Canadian. And I think that is one great thing to be.
Next up, I got my guy, KyleWilcher. What's going on?
Man, nothing much. Just touched down in the DR not too long ago. Just really glad to be here representing Canada.
You know, Andrew Wiggins, I think we all got to see him, and it was nice to see one of our own, you know, not only in the All-Star game, but starting the All-Star game, and a guy that's in your class as well. What do you know, or what could you say about his game?
Hey, Wiggs, man, on and off the court, he's a class act. Like, you know, his game is very similar to how he is off the court. He's just very relaxed. And, you know, he's kind of like a silent assassin, you know. He's a quiet guy, but, you know, his game does the speaking. And so for him to be able to get on that kind of stage, it's tremendous. And being part of a winning team right now, it's fun to watch him play.
Last up, I got my guy, KyleAlexander. What's going on, brother?
Not too much. How you doing?
Can't complain. We've had, you know, a couple All-Star appearances over this past week and past month, guys overseas as well. And Kenny Sherry has been one of those guys who was in the VTB All-Star game. What do you know, or from what have you seen about his game?
I started late, man. I started at 16, and so I kind of, like a lot of the older guys I'm not really familiar with because they came before me. Like literally when I started, it was like the first, like I just was getting into basketball, watching it, playing it, all that. So I don't know too much of the older guys, but from last window, man, he's talented. Like that man, he's a good leader. He's a good communicator. He's a competitor. He can score. He can facilitate. Like I watched him. I was impressed watching him play. And I was like, how have I never heard of this man? Like, this man's a killer, you know? So he's a great player, man. And it's going to be fun to play with him again.
Thanks for watching another episode of Canadian Catch-Up. Stay tuned in as things heat up for the second half of the season.